to have some acknowledgement, some affirmation of them entering into a new season of their manhood, to mark the moments that matter. Some symbolic act that says, you're seen, you're called, you're ready. We throw baby showers for moms-to-be. We celebrate new brides. We mark weddings and graduations and funerals. But I start to wonder, where are the rituals for men? Who marks our seasons of life, our changes in identity? When I was a father-to-be, I was invited to many co-ed baby showers with my wife. And while I went, I can't say I really wanted to be there, because there was a part of me that sensed that this shower was not for me. Most of the focus was on my wife and our new baby. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. I don't think it was a conscious wound that I experienced that, man, why are y'all not throwing me a shower? I really didn't want to go to the showers. But as I started to reflect on it later, I started to realize that maybe something was missing. Some mark of transition was still missing in my life. And so there was absence of the positive there, even though it wasn't experienced initially as something negative. There's no moment to mark me, no ritual to affirm that you are entering into a new role, that you're stepping into a new mantle of fatherhood. And so I got a few well wishes and congratulations, but nothing to mark the significant change in my identity as a father. We do have bachelor parties, though they tend to be focused more on one last blast of our singleness. But the argument can still be made that there's at least some acknowledgement of something that we're leaving behind and something that we're entering into. And so even though the focus of bachelor parties is not on our formation and affirming our identity as husbands per se, there's at least some acknowledgement that we're no longer single. But we're lacking that when it comes to fatherhood. There's not a similar experience when it comes to fatherhood that marks you're changing your seasons of life. You're changing your identity in life. You're changing your role, your responsibility in life. Perhaps like me at the time, this is not something many of you have considered or thought about or consciously aware of something missing in your life. It's not a ritual that you feel that you missed out on. But I think rituals are important for us all the same. That rituals are not just about traditions. They're not just about the parties. Rituals help to anchor our soul, to ground our soul into a new reality. And so as life is moving on, as the changes of life happen, rituals help to ground our soul and help our soul to play catch up. So that as we move into these new seasons, that ritual says, yes, this is a new reality. This is a new norm. This matters. Don't forget. Weddings, baptisms, funerals. These rituals all exist for a reason. They help us to mark the moment and declare that it matters. I had a client several years ago starting to realize the mounting cost of wedding expenses. And they started to wonder, do we even need a wedding ceremony? And my response is that you didn't need a expensive wedding ceremony, but there's something about the ceremony itself that helps your soul to play catch up, that helps your soul acknowledge the change in state, that you're moving from being single into this holy state of matrimony. And the wedding ceremony helps to make that transition. That if you just went to the courthouse and signed some papers, that there's something not quite settled yet in your soul. But there's something about walking down the aisle or standing outside, wherever it is. There's something about that ceremony that helps your soul to play catch up. We've had clients who, for different legal and practical reasons, signed the marriage certificate before the wedding ceremony. And they say when they remember actually being married is at the wedding ceremony itself, even though they were legally married maybe a week or two, maybe even a month beforehand. What they remember is a ceremony that's when they feel like their new life together started. But there's something about that ritual that says this matters. The same is true with other rituals. There's about a week and a half after my dad died before we had his funeral. But it's the funeral that I remember saying my final goodbye to him. There's something about that ceremony, that solemn ceremony of saying goodbye that sears in my soul in a different way, that even though I saw his body beforehand, even though I grieved with my family beforehand, there's something about that funeral that resonated on a deeper way that all the other things didn't, because there's a ritual in the funeral that can't be replicated outside of that moment. And so rituals matter. And what would it look like for us to reclaim more of this for men? To have some acknowledgement, some affirmation of them entering into a new season of their manhood, their fatherhood, or whatever season of life that they're moving into. These don't have to be flashy. It can be simply an intentional time of praying over the men as they enter into this new season of life. Or a letter from a mentor or a trusted other that again marks that moment. Whatever it looks like is simply some symbolic act that says, you're seen, you're called, you're ready. I didn't have that kind of ritual when I became a father, but I want it for other men. I want it for my son. I want to be the kind of man that helps others to mark the moments that matter. And so maybe ask yourself, what moment in your life needs a ritual? What transition are you walking through, or maybe already walked through, that needs a moment to pause and reflect and honor and affirm what you've experienced, the new transition that you've made? And so let's be the sort of men that don't just drift through life, drift through the changes of life, but the men who can make a meaningful statement, a declaration of the changes, the identity that we're adopting. If this resonates with you, then like and subscribe and share with other men who might also need to slow down and mark the important moments in their life. And then check out this next video and let's continue the conversation about how we can rise and reign together as kingdom men throughout our life and relationships. Check that out here.